I think the first thing I did when I was diagnosed in the hospital was I forgave myself, forgave others, and of course I thought I wasn't going to make it. So I was like, you know what? I got to do everything and just be me completely cuz what else am I going to be?
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for fun, but I already.
Hi, my name is Amie. Like, comment, and subscribe to Lux Media Studios. They are awesome. Hey everyone, welcome to Loving Your Life Be Authentically You with me, Amie. I am so excited to have you here on this podcast. And if you liked the music you heard before, that is my daughter, True Istina. TRUE_ISTINA dot music official on Instagram, or just TRUEISTINA.com. And go check her out. Go check out her music. She's got some new music videos coming out and she's got some really cool things. So please go show her some love. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you guys are in need of just having more happiness in your life, I am a happiness coach. Come check me out at thetruehappiness.com, where you can book me and you can try it out and see what you think. Everybody's happiness is different, and it is all internal. It's not based on external things. External things can change at a drop of a dime. And so it's really important to stay in our true authenticity and our happiness. So I am all about that. And I would love to show you and help you to get there. But without further ado, I am so excited for our next guest. This man is Ryan Matthews, a canine mentalist, a combat veteran turned celebrity dog trainer. He began his career in the Army while training and handling elite military working dogs. After his honorable discharge from the Army, he began applying his canine mentalist strategies and successfully transformed the lives of more than 5,000 dogs and their owners. By applying the lessons he learned while training dogs, Ryan has managed to overcome severe PTSD, childhood trauma, and near death experiences. He has shared his valuable knowledge in TEDx talks, books, reality TV, talk shows, and the news appearances, and more. So we'll go to theworldofdogtraining.com to check out more, but we have him right here. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. As you were reading the bio, I was like, say you're old without saying you're old. 5,000 dogs. That's a lot of dogs. Thank you so much for the intro. You're such a light, and I'm truly honored to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. So much. I we just talked just recently, literally, and a friend of ours just kind of put us together and then we had a great conversation. And I really liked how you have endured so many things in your life and how you have stepped into your authenticity and what
Mm.
you do and even your visualization. There's so much to talk about. So I want so
There
much to
is.
talk about. But what I want to talk about is one thing you told me at the end of the conversation was that there was a time when you were not in your authentic self.
Mm.
And that was, I was very curious about that. We didn't go really into detail, but I would like to hear more about that if you don't mind sharing where that was and then how and why you stepped into your authentic self. What changed that made that happen?
Mm. All right. Well, I would say that most of my life, I've been a boy in a man's body. That's my truth, right? And it's something that I don't think enough of us are willing to do some self-reflection to really assess. But that's my truth. It started, Amy, with me in childhood trying to be mm, the cooler younger brother to my brother and try to do the things he was doing, and I thought that would make me cool. Now, a lot of that was illegal, um, and I thought that I would be worthy, I would be enough, I would be cool, and yada yada. And it took me into my 30s. I'm 43 now. It took me into my 30s to truly be like, that was never you. It really never was. Like, I'm a very caring guy, very genuine. I have moments of being soft. I'm very comfortable with that. And I wasn't being myself. And After the war as well, I went to the war with a explosive detection dog in 2005. That also got me being away from who I was. I thought I had to be this macho guy and all this stuff. And you know what? If I could just summarize it, Amy, it was someone scared, always trying to say stay away without saying away, giving up presence to say stay away so that I could stay safe. I think that's really what it was. But it took me doing a lot of self reflection, a lot of inner work, working with multiple masters in their fields for me to really come to the conclusion and step into, oh, I'm okay crying, or I feels good for me to help people, and just being authentically me.
Wow. Wow. So what was that big change? Like why did that happen?
I'm a slow learner, and it wasn't, I had stage 3 colon cancer when I was 30. That didn't do it. I had a widowmaker heart attack from the chemotherapy 2 months later. That didn't do it. I was involved in some negative media press. It became known nationwide, and I was in the newspaper in the news. That didn't wake me up. It wasn't until there was a moment that I thought I was passing out to die. It was weird. I felt very weak, and my body, my soul, my everything wanted to literally just lay down on the ground and just be done. It was so weird. But then I felt this energy, this being, this life force, like shake me almost, if you will, and be like, get it together. And this was like I had a choice to commit to fighting for my life, that I still want to be here, or just give up. Because see, through being spared after cancer, being spared after combat, being spared after the heart attack, being spared after some horrific accidents with like an ATV and a car, none of that woke me up. And I was taking life for granted. And in that moment, when I was shooken up, I said, I admitted my wrongs, and I said, I've been taking my life for granted, and I'm sorry. I'm speaking to higher power, and I said, I have been wasting my time, and I apologize for that. I said, please just give me one more chance. And this all happened pretty quickly, all within about 20 seconds. I said, please give me another chance. I promise you I'll do the work. I promise you I'll share with other people. Whatever I figure out, I'll share with others. And as soon as I made that soul contract, is what I like to call it, I started to feel better. The ambulance came and they said I needed to go to the ER, but I refused because I knew what happened. It was a weird, unique wake up call. And that's what needed to happen for me to really wake up. And so that was when I really started to say, it's time to get to work on self. And so that was the turning moment. And then that's what I did. I just sought out a variety of healing modalities. And like I kind of shared with you, for me, it feels so good in my heart to share with others for their benefit. And I hope that my pain will help them not have to go through what I did.
Right, right. Because I think so many people, we are in the dark, right? We stay in that dark. And you're right, like all these things can happen, and sometimes it's just not enough. Sometimes it doesn't shake us to the core. For me, it was my stage 4 cancer. That's what it was for me. But it's sometimes, we just move on through life, and we take it for granted. We move on. We're just trying to make ends meet. We're just doing what we do and not really thinking about that. And when it finally comes down to the crux of the matter, it's like, what's really important?
Mm.
What is truly, truly important? And so from there, you ended up doing different modalities. So what did you end up doing to better yourself?
Oh, geez. I don't know that we have enough time for that. Um, I'll just share a few. Like I did EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So you have a negative emotion, you could tap it. I did that. I did EMDR. I flew to New York to work with a shaman. I've worked with other shamans, and I got into microdosing mushrooms actually, um, at a very very small level. I don't like to feel altered. I hardly drink at all, but that was one thing that I did. Lots of talk therapy, but I'm very open to modalities outside of that, such as Reiki and different types of energy healing. And then the other part that was missing pretty much my whole life, self care. Self-care. I didn't really have a self-care routine or practice, and that was also something because part of self-care is self-love. And if I got to love myself first before I can love others. So that was another thing that I really put into practice.
Do you ever hear people say like self-care is selfish?
I've heard that a few times, but you know how like something you just can't resonate. It's like, yeah, I can't really hear that,
Yeah.
right?
That's what
Or
I think too.
yeah,
Because it's like it's so, you like you just said, if you don't put it in yourself, then how do you have it to give? Love your neighbor as yourself. Well, how do you know what it means to love your neighbor if you don't love yourself?
right.
I mean, that's
100%.
right there.
You know, the other way I view it, Amy, is like I owe it to society, you, everyone that I interact with, to show up as the best me as possible.
I love that.
And so part of me showing up in a good way is doing my meditation because if I don't get my meditation medicine, I'm a little different and I don't really like that version of myself as much. And so that's all part of it is that self-care allows me to show up in a way that everyone deserves and it makes everything just feel more harmonious and again I can just show up in the best me as possible.
That's true. It keeps us centered, keeps us grounded, and it keeps us true to who we are. Otherwise, the world will dominate you. Like it
Mm,
will. There's so much coming at you all the time with news or things or just all kinds of stuff. And so we have to stay in that in order to self-preserve ourselves and
100%.
to have that love. So I agree with that. I agree with that. So I wanted to share with the viewers here about what you told me because I thought the balloon thing was really really awesome that you told me.
Oh, okay.
I really really did, and I want to share with them of how to get rid of things like that because
Mm.
I think it is so powerful. When you were saying it, I was literally doing it in my head, and it was just so powerful. So if you would walk me through that, I would love that.
100%. So what we're talking about is the creative visualization technique. And is it okay if I go into why each component, Amy, or do you want me to keep it
Sure.
100,000 foot view?
Um, no, each component's great because that shows deeper into what's going on. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well, friends, essentially, when I was 30, I had that stage 3 colon cancer and then also the heart attack. And I remember being with my ex-wife trying to fall asleep. I couldn't fall asleep. And I would be like, do you think I'll wake up tomorrow? You know, I got tired of saying that and asking that, am I going to wake up tomorrow? And then one of my dog training clients, she had said, hey, I want to do some work on you. Uh, I want to do cranial sacral work on you. I didn't even know what she was talking about, but I trusted her and I was, again, pretty open minded. And so I came to her house and I was on the massage table and she put her hands close to my head. And that was supposedly this cranial sacral work. And I thought it was kind of dumb. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I don't have patience for this. Like, this is so dumb. What are we doing here? Um, and then she said something profound. She said, Ryan, what are you going to do about your cancer? And I said, I'm gonna go get chemo. And she said, right, but that's not what I'm talking about. She said, what are you going to do about your mind? Well, that really resonated because again, every day I'm asking my ex-wife, am I going to wake up tomorrow? Do you think I'm going to get through this? I just had no confidence. Well, then she said, I don't know, but you need to create a game in your mind because you're going to get these obtrusive thoughts and they're going to consume you if you don't do something about it. Now, I created this game for the thought of not getting cancer again, but someone could do this for any type of thought that is a reoccurring thought that they have day in and day out that they just don't want to continue to come into their mind. And so, what I did well, what she said was, she said, Ryan, what I would do if it was me is I would imagine these little workers inside my body. These little workers have these scrub brushes, and what they're going to do is they're going to scrub away anything that's not serving me. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But it didn't really resonate entirely. And so she said, but look, you have to create your own game. And I was like, okay. Well, I then started to do a bit of research on creative visualizations and I started to better understand it. And I created my own, what I call it, the game because I also don't want to make it feel too serious. And then when there's this lightness behind it, I'm not downplaying these thoughts at all. But if we give it a lot of power, we're keeping it too alive, and it's not. I don't know that that's always serving us. And so say the thought of cancer, I don't want to have that. I'm a very visual person. So what I do, Amy, is I picture the word cancer. And then what I do is I put the emotion that I'm feeling, I cram it into that word. And it's almost like this bubble letters floating, if you will. And I'm part Italian, but I think in a past life, I was very much this Italian New York guy. It really resonates with me, maybe in the 60s or so. Probably drove a Cadillac and wore a fancy hat. That's kind of how I see it. Nonetheless, because that lifestyle really resonates with me, what I do is I have this word cancer and this emotion in it, and it floats onto this butcher's deli. The guy's name's Tony. And so Tony is gonna wrap up this word, okay, this emotion, cancer, Amy, in this butcher paper. And I hear the sound of that butcher paper in my mind's eye. Okay, you feel it. And it gets then he tapes it up, he tapes it up. He's like, "Is that it for today?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's it for today." And but that now we have this thing and it's separate from me, but it's still there. So then the other thing I need to do is I need this thing to go away. Well, I could take that to the ocean and I could sink it and it's away. I could put it in that oven at that deli and that thing could get baked and disintegrated. But for me, what really resonated, and it's kind of weird how it resonated, but it brought me back to when I was in fourth or fifth grade. And this is not environmentally friendly, and I don't support this, but the teacher made us do it. We as students all had balloons with a postcard, and what we wanted to do was track the distance that this balloon would go, and we asked whoever found it to reply back to us. And it was part of some kind of science thing for school. Well, I remember we were all out there and we all had our balloons, and I remember releasing it. I remember watching it, getting smaller and smaller till I couldn't see anything anymore. And there was symbolism behind that I never really knew. Well, as the school year went on, all the students gradually would hear back from people saying they found their postcard, where they found it, and almost became like pen pals, if you will. Well, the year passed and I never did get a response. And that triggered my abandonment as a child. And that also was more impactful because the next school year, Amy, someone replied back. And it made my month. Okay. And so the point is this, for me, there was symbolism with this balloon going and going and going until you cannot see it anymore. And then letting go. That's what I had to do. I had to just let go. So now we're back to the deli with Tony, and we have that butcher paper with that word contained in it, and then we're gonna tie balloons to it. And I again, just like I was that little kid, fourth or fifth grade, watching it float away. Now, oh, it's feeling heavy today. Put more balloons, no problem. We're just gonna keep how many we want. You want to do a million balloons, but you're going. You're going. You don't have a choice.
You're out of here.
That's right. And so sometimes, Amy, I just tie one balloon, I see it, and it's like, whoop, it really wants to go. And then, and then what happened, Amy, when I first started doing it is that thought of cancer came right back. Well, I repeated the process. And what I discovered, my own experience was my mind got lazy. My mind's like, well, we don't really want to play that game. So guess what? We won't then give that negative emotion, that negative thought to you. And then that's how I rid my mind of get the thought of getting cancer again. That's how I did it.
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
That is so, so powerful. Powerful how our mind does that. So powerful. Wow. And so now you're cancer free.
I am. I just had a annual colonoscopy 3 days ago. In fact, my throat's still sore from the endoscopy because they did a scope down my throat. And yeah, I'm cancer free. And yeah, thank you. It's been, what is that, 13 years now.
Oh, that is so amazing. It's so amazing. So you really think that all of the visualization and everything that you were doing, do you think that's what did it?
Not entirely.
Okay.
I think I manifested it because of my lifestyle. I was working with like 10 clients a day. I was making really good money, but I was absolutely an addict of work. Not only that, but there was grudges that I still held in my life. And I think those grudges is is what did it. I think that that was at least a third of it.
So stress, grudges, things like that. I see that too. I see that too. I think the first thing I did when I was diagnosed in the hospital was I forgave myself, forgave others. And of course, I thought I wasn't going to make it. So I was like, you know what? I got to do everything and just be me completely because what else am I going to be? And I just totally gave up, like
Mm,
surrendered that part of me. And I realized, wow, there's a lot of stuff still that was not healed. And I didn't realize that. I have an ex as well, and that all was not completely healed.
mm,
There was
mm,
a lot of things within my childhood that were coming back and triggers or different things like that. And that all had to be healed. And
mhm.
I think you're right. I think all that stuff starts happening and then it manifests into things that we don't want.
Yeah. That's when I was working with this really incredible somatic healer, and he had said, like, it's time to start having those conversations that you've been avoiding and start making your wrongs right. And that's what I began to do. And it felt really good to have those uncomfortable conversations. I felt so much more free. Now, the fact that I was also in my 20s holding like explosive components with my bare hand and feeling it almost getting like almost getting high from it, it's weird. I would say that probably also didn't help Amy, but I was, 20 and dumb, and you think that you're invincible. Um, but yeah, that was part of training explosive dogs. I think that also didn't help.
Yeah, the chemicals. Because that was
Yeah.
another thing my doctor had asked me about chemicals, PCOAs and all those different chemicals and things. I was asked about that.
Oh,
And
interesting.
we're exposed to all of that. So, that could be also part of it.
Yeah, I would hold a lot of different types of bomb making materials, because the way that we get the dogs to be proficient is we need TNT, C4, det cord, sodium nitrate, blah, blah, blah. We need those actual bomb making materials, and you'll hide them and allow the dog to find it. Well, when you think you're in your 20s and you're invincible, you don't put on gloves. You just pick the TNT up or the C4, whatever the heck it is. You just pick it up with your bare hand and you just go and hide it. And you don't think about that that gets absorbed in that largest organ, our skin. And then what? You don't think about it back then.
That's true. That's true. So, in your healing process, do you think that from after you did the forgiving and you went through all of that, that's really what healed you? And then the visualizations and all of that, is that what you would say healed you?
Yeah, you could say environment, right? Environment. And you could go kind of deep into environment, the things we expose ourselves to physically, the things we expose ourselves to mentally, the type of people we're interacting with, the types of thoughts that we have. And I think that, and I see you resonating, and the download I'm getting is what I feel from you is happiness now. You're like, yes, this is why I have this. I like to call what you did like a happiness project almost, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's what comes to mind, and that's kind of what I'm picking up from you.
Exactly. It's about the people we associate with. It's about things we let in our lives. It's about who we let affect our lives. It's all of those things. And I call it the love bubble. I call it the
Mm.
love bubble
Oh,
around
that's great.
and keeping that intact. The more that we keep that intact, the more peaceful we feel, the better we feel. We resonate, mind, body, and soul completely, and we can step into our authenticity when we do that, and we don't allow people to affect us.
Mm,
And I think that is huge. So yeah, when I'm in that, it's the high vibration, right? The love bubble, the high vibration that it's okay. Everything's always working out for me. Even when I'm seeing numbers skyrocketing, I'm like, no, it's working out for me. There's a reason. There's a reason. And like one of the blessings that I've had is I'm on this podcast. I met you, all of these things. And that's how I look at life rather than as the event that was so bad that's just going to take me down.
mm. I really see that as a book, and I'm ready to buy it. The Love Bubble. I love it. I'm ready to buy it right now, Amy.
I'll work on my book.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's the love bubble. Yeah, that's how I feel. And I protect it. I call it sometimes Candyland. People are like, oh, you're in Candyland. Sometimes I am, but I would rather be in Candyland than in Darkland. Like,
100%.
you know, I really don't want to be. I'd
No.
rather be in this happy place.
We talked about that the other day as well. I was saying that I was at this veteran retreat, and I'll never forget something so simple. This guy, he was just pure light, and we were all just so impressed with him, and he was inspiring. And we're like, "What's your magic, man?" And he's like, he opened a journal, showed the first page, and it said, "Choose happy." And he said, "Every day I just choose happy, man. Every day I just show up and I choose happy." Like, yeah, that sounds kind of simple, and you can't go wrong with that, right?
People make it too complicated. Like, oh my gosh, I have to be happy. Or people are really feel, I've noticed this, that if they're happy, they're like, I can't be. Like, I shouldn't
Mm.
be happy. It's like, why can't you be happy? Why can't you smile?
That's the environment, Amy. That's the, I hate to say it, but the family members that are like, "Oh, just don't do this," or the friends that want to, "Oh, but then," and you're like, "No, I got to follow this impulse. I got to follow this desire." And they want us to stay in comfort and yada, yada, because they love us and they care. But it's like, no, that's your path, not my path. I don't know if that resonates for any of your listeners, but that's definitely been my truth. Sometimes the people that love me want me to kind of stay at a vibration that's really not where I want to play. I want to play somewhere a lot higher. And I want to feel comfortable being uncomfortable so I can keep elevating.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. Well, we are starting to run out of time, but I really want to have you back on for part two because there is so much more. Even just that part, I'm like, let's continue from there. I really, really want to have you on again. I-
Anytime. You just tell me when.
Okay, I would love for that. So would you tell our viewers where they can find you and anything you would like to tell them?
Thank you so much. Well, again, you've been incredible. So I genuinely appreciate the opportunity, Amy. And I hope what we talk about resonates with your tribe.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I would say people could find me on Instagram at World of Dog Training. And also, if you're cool with it, 40% of households in the US have a dog. So I would imagine a good number of people have a dog in your audience. I would love your dedicated listeners. I want to essentially give them my book for free. I sell it on Amazon for 20 bucks. I want to give it for free. They could simply email me, Ryan at worldofdogtraining.com, unless you have a better idea to get that to them.
Okay. I think it's great. They can go straight through you. That's
Okay,
perfect. Just
perfect. So,
say you listen to Loving Your Life, Be Authentically You, and you get your free book.
okay, we haven't put love bubble in the subject though, and
Yes,
then I'll
a love
know that
bubble in
that's,
the subject.
yeah, love bubble book, and that'll help start creating some momentum and start manifesting. And because of the word book, it'll help you and it'll help me remember what I need to send them. So Ryan at worldofdogtraining.com. I would love to give that to them.
Fantastic. That is so generous of you. Thank you. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Well, I have really had an honor and a pleasure of having you on the show. So many wonderful insights and gems. I hope you guys all enjoyed Ryan so much. It was so amazing. And we're really I'm really thankful. And again, I really want to have you on again. So and if you guys want to again check out the happiness, thetruehappiness.com, go check that out. And I will see you guys again next week for another episode. And who knows what I'll say. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for